So in looking at the creation and how writers or readers kind of form, writers or speakers kind of form what they're doing in their rhetorical situation, we need to look at the appeals that they can use, the rhetorical appeals. And these are things that make the rhetorical relationships more successful. And there are three of them. They're logos, ethos, and pathos. And oftentimes, especially when we're looking at advertisements or anything like that, they're going to be intertwined. And usually it's a good thing to use more than one of them. A lot of times when we're looking at maybe magazine ads or commercials or things like that, we're going to see some more heavily focused on, but when we see more like speeches and things like that, we're going to see a lot more evidence of a lot of these things working together. The first one is logos, and it's appeal to reason or logic, and that's a good way to remember what it stands for. Logic, logos, they're very similar. And it informs the speaker's decisions and the reader's responses. So anything that's really informative. Think about, facts or figures or statistics. It's always clear and reasonable premises and proofs, and it develops ideas with appropriate details. So this one is, if you think about maybe a medicine commercial or something like that, and you see 4 in 5 doctors agree, or something like that. It's going to be something statistical or figures or facts, and that's an example of using logos. The second one is called ethos, and it's easy to get this one mixed up with pathos, and I'll explain why in a little while. But this one is an appeal to the ethics of character, and this is a good way to remember how, which ones connect, ethics and ethos. And it connects the thinking to the reader's own ethics and morals. And if you think about this one, it's the credibility of the writer or the speaker. It's them trying to establish why they are effective in saying what they're saying. So they're trying to build their own credibility here. So they're making appeals to ethics or character or morals, things like that. So it's basically the writer saying that they are credible, good-willed, and knowledgeable about the situation. So if you think about a commercial you've seen before, maybe if you've seen an athlete endorsing tennis shoes, then that's saying that that product is good because that person is an athlete and they know what they're talking about. So that's establishing their ethos. Or a doctor endorsing medicine is the same kind of premise there. And last, we have pathos, and this is the one that you can kind of easily get confused with ethos, and this is why, because it appeals to emotion. So a lot of times people see that E in emotion and think about it with the E in ethos, so that's why I said to think about ethics when thinking about ethos. But this one in pathos, it's an appeal to emotion, so it highlights a reader's emotional interests. So they're thinking about the emotions of the readers, what is going to kind of tug at their heartstrings, and this is usually the most powerful and immediate appeal to use. It's the one that is most just in your face. You're realizing what they're using a lot of times. And a lot of times it could be personal stories and observations, or there's going to be a lot of figurative language in these types of things, especially when you're looking at speeches or certain writings. It's harder to pick out the figurative language when you're looking at a TV ad, for example. But this one dominates advertising. So if you think about some commercials you've seen that might tug at your heartstrings that are kind of centered on emotional effects, the Humane Society commercials with the sad animals and the sad song playing, or the ads about starving children, things like that. It's anything to make you emotionally charged in that situation. Or if you think about something different than being sad, if you think about maybe perfume ads using passionate ideas, anything that has to do with human emotion is going to be the pathos, which is the emotional appeal.